It's time now for Real Estate Update. With Usha Chandra of Globenet Realty, real estate is our world.
Now we're standing here.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very special segment where we talk everything real estate with the weekly real estate update with Usha Chandra of Globenet Realty. With that, welcome to the show, Usha.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Usha Chandra and Australian Indian Radio.
And as usual, it's wonderful to have your company here on the studios. Well, right now, we're getting into the festive season. So how is the year looking so far? So what are the results?
Yes, looking at the results, the combined capital city auction cities, so 2,667 homes were taken to auction last week, the busiest week since late May, where was 3,226 properties, while up 5.1% from the previous week of 2,537. The same week last year saw the record breaking of 4,981 homes taken to auction across the combined capital cities, the busiest auction week since records commenced in 2008. Of the 2024 results collected so far, 57.59% were successful, the lowest preliminary clearance rate since the week ending on 24th of July. Last week's preliminary clearance rate was 4% points higher to 61.9%, revising down to 57.8% at the final figures. While 64% of the reported auctions were successful this time last year. Once the remaining results are collected, the final clearance rate will likely be below 60% for the third consecutive week. Across the smaller capital cities, Adelaide was the busiest auction market last week, 189 properties, followed by Brisbane, 180 properties, and Canberra, 142 properties. Adelaide has recorded the strongest preliminary clearance rate, so far 65.5%, followed by Canberra, 57.1%, and Brisbane is 41%. In Perth, just one of the 8 results collected so far returned to a successful result, while neither of the 2 Tasmanian auction results have been reported so far. At this stage, we are expecting to see around 2,300 homes taken to auction across the combined capital cities next week before the seasonal slowdown kicks in. So that's the results of the capital cities, and the market has slowed a bit.
And the market has slowed a bit because we are coming on to the festive season, and next week will be probably the last show for this year. But looking at all that, especially Brisbane, 180 auction, that's not too bad, being second in the smaller capitals, second only to Adelaide, which had 189. So good to see that there's a lot of activities happening right here in Brisbane as well. So what does that equate to in numbers, like clearance rate and number of auctions and uncleared auctions citywide?
Yes, looking at the Sydney market first, the clearance rate is 58.5%. 960 properties were taken to auction and only 430 sold under the hammer. Melbourne is 59.4%. 1,182 properties were taken to auction and 562 sold as cleared auction results. Brisbane is 41%. 180 properties were taken to auction and only 48 sold under the hammer. Adelaide is 65.5%. 189 properties were taken to auction and 74 sold. Perth is not applicable, as we discussed. Tasmania is not applicable either, and Canberra is 57.1%. 142 properties were taken to auction and 60 were sold as cleared properties, cleared sales. So looking at the average of the combined capital cities, 57.9% were the clearance rate. 2,267 properties were taken to auction and 1,175 were sold as cleared auction results. So the results are there, and they slowed down a little bit as we discussed before. So the results, about 50% of the properties sold across the board.
And the result that really jumps out at you is the number of the total auctions, especially in Melbourne. When the overall, the weighted average to the nation was 2,667, Melbourne alone had 1,182. Wow, that's a lot of auction. When I was talking about Brisbane at 180, I thought it was good. When you look at 1,182, wow, that is just amazing. That is insane, those kind of figures. Well, moving on. So what does that equate to when we look at the property values and the value changes? Now, as we know, the two ways we gauge it is what has been happening in this monthly period. Then how does that relate and equate to our yearly figures? So first of all, if you could give us the monthly change.
Yes, looking at the Sydney market first again, it's minus 1.3%. So the monthly change in Melbourne is minus 1%. Brisbane is minus 1.7%, Adelaide is minus 1.1%, and Perth is minus 0.1%. So the combined capital cities are minus 1.1%. So the lowest market is in Brisbane, minus 1.7% there.
So meaning the biggest change in a downward trend has been in Brisbane at 1.7 because previously it was still quite high. So very interesting to see now how that all equates to when it transposes those to the 12-month change.
Yes, let's have a quick look at the 12-month change. Sydney is minus 11.4%, Melbourne is minus 7.5%, Brisbane is plus 1.6%, Adelaide is the best market there, plus 12.4%, and Perth is also plus 3.7%. So the combined capitals is minus 6.1%, looking at these minuses in Sydney and Melbourne.
And of course, it is quite interesting to see the impact that the monthly change has on the 12-month. So Brisbane has come down to 1.6, where it was quite high before. And it is the monthly downward trend that is driving this graph and bringing it to, well, it's still barely above the line, slightly above the line. It still hasn't come under. But on the 12-month, but on the monthly one, it is way under now. Well, looking at all of those and coming into the festive season, so what's available for sale throughout the nation citywide?
Yes, looking at the sale, the 4-week count, the listed properties for sale. Let's have a quick look at the Brisbane market first. 3,547, quite a large number of listings still coming on the market. And the combined Copter 4-week count is 14,501. Sydney is 4,144 new listings. Quite large number of listings, still down from the previous weeks. 20,952 new listings. Canberra is 551. 2,141 is the 4-week count. Melbourne is 5,823. Largest listing is in Melbourne. 27,689. And looking at Darwin market, 161 properties. And the 4-week count is 1,117 new listings for the 4-week count. Perth is 3,882, and 4-week count is 14,502 listings. Hobart is 393. 1,392 is the 4-week count. So looking at Adelaide, quite large listings there in sales. 1,183 new listings. 4,939 is the 4-week count. Looking at the combined capitals, 20,384 new listings and 87,233 is the 4-week count. So the listings are still quite a good number of listings coming on the market. Let's see what happens next week after when people are preparing for the festive season.
Well, that's right. That will have the very interesting bearing on the whole figures. But good to see the numbers coming across. So what that would equate to is that the numbers are coming, the listings are there. The sales might be different because it might be taking a little bit more longer to sell. And of course meeting the vendor's expectation. Well, right now the other part of the equation are much talked about, much in the media, is rentals. So what's happening in that scene?
Yes, looking Rental market is still pretty good. Let's have a quick look at Darwin. 333 new properties in rentals came on the market. 718 is the 4-week count. Perth is 3,240 new rental properties. 6,050 is the 4-week count. Hobart is 351. 648 is the 4-week count. Adelaide is 1,663 new listings. Brisbane has 4,845. Quite large number of listings coming in Brisbane as well. And Sydney is 14,059, large number, huge number of listings in rental section. And Canberra is 1,242, and Melbourne is 12,154 new listings. So looking at the Canberra and Sydney market, there's huge number of rental properties coming on the market. I think a lot of due to a lot of people going overseas for quite a few months, there'll be a lot of short-term rentals as well, so that's why the numbers are huge over there. And the combined capital cities is 37,887 new listings for the week, so that's huge number of rental properties coming on the market.
Well, if time permits, we look at one of the laws that's going to be passed in Sydney. Is they're going to ban the rental bidding, meaning you can only apply up to the advertised price. You cannot say, okay, I'll get this much and someone else says another amount. So they're going to outlaw that. How effective would that be is another matter. We'll take a look at that, time permitting. Well, right now, rental snapshot. What's happening rental-wise across the nation, and what's the yield, and what sort of rental are people getting?
Actually, looking at the rental snapshot, Sydney, the rental market has gone up $677 per week, which was $670 before, and it's gone by 1.2% higher. And the current 12-month change is to 11%, and the gross yield is 2.4%. Sorry, current yield is 3.8%. And Melbourne has gone up. It was $499 per week. It's 503 now, and it's gone up by 0.7%. And current yield is 3.2%. Brisbane has gone up as well. It was 575. It's now 584 per week, gone up by 0.8% for the month. And the 12-month change is 13.6%, and yield has gone up as well by 4.10%. Adelaide 516. Adelaide market is pretty good as well, gone up by 0.3%, and 12-month change is 12.8%, and current yield is 3.90%. Perth is 546, gone up there as well by 1.1%, and the 12-month change is 10.4%, and current yield is 4.63%. Hobart is 553. It's pretty steady over there. It hasn't changed, and 12-month change is 6.1%, and current yield is 4.03%. Hobart is 533. Darwin is 593, minus there by 1.1%, and the 12-month change is 5.3%, and current yield is pretty good, 4.01%. So looking at the combined capital cities, 573 is the median price. It's gone up by month by 0.9%, and the 12-month change is 10.7%, and current yield combined capital cities is 3.50%. Let's have a quick look at the regional markets as well. $498 per week is gone by 0.4% up. So everywhere the prices have gone up apart from Darwin. So the 12-month change is 8.7%, and current yield is really good, 4.43%. So national average is $551 per week, gone up by 0.8%, and its 12-month change is 10.2%, and current yield in the combined capitals, in the national capitals, is 3.71%.
Well, that's still good to see. That's still good to see that the rental market is still holding strong. And here's that report that we were talking about that New South Wales is going to ban rental bidding?
So, look, it's a really grey area. It's very untransparent. It's by its nature, it's hard to track. But, this article overnight from the Daily Telegraph found that 83% of the agents that they spoke to were admitting to or even encouraging rent bidding. So, it is a very widespread practice in some areas, and increasingly, the more it gets a light shone on it, the extent to which it's happening is becoming more and more apparent.
What would you like to see happen to presumably prevent this?
So this is a symptom of a broken system, so it is very good to regulate it directly. And when we talk about directly regulating rent bidding, we need to make sure that it addresses both forms of rent bidding. So where the agent is the person initiating and encouraging it almost explicitly, and also where it's more implicit, where it's more hidden, and people are made aware that if they don't make an offer, then they might be missing out. That's harder to track, but we need to do both. So we need to do things like prevent the advertisement of a range of rents, prevent the advertisement of offers above, that kind of language. But we also need to look at ensuring that rents cannot be higher than the advertised price, so that we really put an end to that kind of wink and a nod style of encouraging rent bidding, which it doesn't yet sound like this legislation will track, and hasn't happened in Queensland, Victoria, Tasmania, the other jurisdictions that have attempted to end rent bidding, and where rent bidding appears to continue.
Okay. You mentioned that this is just a symptom of a broken system. How hard is it across New South Wales at the moment to find somewhere? Because we've heard reports from right around the country that there's just not enough supply in certain parts of the country.
So it is very difficult at the moment. We know vacancy rates are below 1% in every major market, even sub-markets within the city, some places that usually have a little bit more availability. That's mostly at the higher end where it's already much more expensive. But it is a very tough time. We're hearing from people, instead of putting in what was an average of about 3 applications before you find a place about 5 years ago, according to Choice, we're hearing routinely from people putting in 20, 50. I've heard from people more than 100 applications and still being unsuccessful and coming to the end of their previous tenancy and having nowhere else to go. And that fear, that worry, is what's really driving the desperation that's pushing up prices so quickly and encouraging things like rent bidding.
So they are, Usha, any commentary on that rental bidding? I know it's not prevalent here in Queensland, but we have seen that happen too.
Yes, absolutely. When we have got quite a few large number of prospective tenants visiting the property, inspecting the property, they do mention that if the owner is looking for the best application, we are happy to give another $10 or $20 more. So we ask them to put their application, and we'll process the application, we'll put it to the landlords. So just this week actually we had 7 groups of people come through the property, and they all want the property, and so we can only give it to one person, so the best applicant gets the property. So yeah, not that much. This is the first week I have heard about people are going to bid for a little bit higher, but normally our rentals, we have got quite a good amount of rentals, so people are inspecting, and the best applicant gets the property. So still people are saying there's shortage of properties, rental properties. We've got a few. We had to drop a price for one of the properties actually from $750 to $700, which was the peak time was $750, and it's been on the market for a couple of weeks, and the owner said drop it to $700. So there's depends on the properties as well. I think that property was rented for quite high amount to start with, because it was the peak time for people were looking for rental properties. So more properties are coming on the market at the moment as rentals we have seen. So there is quite a large number of properties coming on the market. So hopefully the tenants will find something to move in before Christmas.
And the good old equation and principle of economics never fails: the supply and demand situation. Well, right now, moving on with the show, let's take a look at the top sales in Queensland.
Yes, looking at the top sales in Queensland, actually in Mooloolaba, unit number 90120 First Avenue, number 2020 First Avenue in Mooloolaba, 3 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 4 cars, sold for $6 million. So it's a huge amount of money for apartment, maybe a townhouse or penthouse. Then the next one is in Broadbeach, Waters. So 18 Youngers Court and Broadbeach, 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms and 4 cars, sold for $5.1 million. It looks like a nice big house there. So those are the 2 properties of Queensland, the best sellers in Queensland.
Well done for those sales, Queenslanders. Yeah, that's amazing. 6 million and 5 million, and both are looking at the coast. Up the coast and down the coast.
Down the coast.
Well, right now, in the concluding part, if there's any concluding remarks, Usha.
Yes, looking at our area in Boondall on the north side of Brisbane, I mean, activities are still happening. We have got quite a few rental properties. Sale is slowed down a little bit. We have listed a new property at in Virginia at number 16A Taylor Street, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and that's going on the market for offers over $870. So if anybody is looking for investment property or to live in, the owners would love to live there and rent it back for at least $550 or $600 per week for the next 12 months. So you've already got a ready-made tenant who will be staying in the property while they're building. So that property is at 16A Taylor Street in Virginia. That's a new listing. We've still got that property at 211 Pine Tree Close. We've got a couple of offers, but the owner hasn't accepted the offer. So that one is a duplex, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bathroom, 1 car, and that's on the market for offers over $540. Rentals, we have just got that new rental as well. A couple of new rentals. One is Margate, a unit across the ocean, and that's a 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom and 1 car. That's going on the market for $450 per week. We have got the other one at 37 Calvary Crescent, 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 cars, and that's on the market for $700 a week. And we have just got another one on Church Road, which is $480 per week. It's an old timber house. The owner has just bought it from another agent and has given us to manage the property. That's with new carpets and a few new things added to the property. That's $480 per week. And we've got another one in Oxford's Place for rental, and that one is $500 per week. It's got a above ground swimming pool, 3 bedrooms and a study with 2 bathrooms and single garage. So that's quite a nice property that will go fairly quickly. So that's the results. I mean, we are slowing down as well as everybody else is. People are celebrating festive seasons. A lot of people are doing their shoppings and all that, not looking at the houses at the moment, because hopefully in the new year they'll start coming back and investing in properties. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Australian Indian Radio and Usha Chandra.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show, and until next week, it's goodbye from us.
Globenet Realty. Globenet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Usha Chandra, Director of Globenet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. Globenet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. Globenet Realty. Real estate is our world.